What up, everybody, and welcome to Baz on Blades. My name is Baz, and I talk about blades. And today we've got a long-anticipated new offering from Spyderco, and that is the Spyderco Bow River fixed blade. This is a Phil Wilson design. I think that it is the third Phil Wilson design from Spyderco, and this is purpose-built to get one of Mr. Wilson's designs into people's hands at a more budget price point. It is Chinese produced, and you are going to find this knife everywhere that it is in stock for about $35. That does include a pretty decent but basic pouch type leather sheath. And this knife, I think, is purpose built, and it is also built to a price point so your materials are not going to be super high end. In your blade steel, you're in HCR13 MOV stainless with G10 for your handle scales, and it looks like stainless pin material and stainless tube material to complement and finish out that handle. Now, guys, I'm going to get into the review a little bit before I tell you what I bought this knife for. It was a specific purpose purchase for Baz on Blades. And once I say what it is, you're going to be like, oh yeah, that's works perfect for that. So let's knock out the size, the specs, all of that here, guys. Your blade length is 4 inches of cutting edge, or 4.5 inches to your handle scales, and that is 10 millimeters or 10 centimeters and 11 centimeters. Your blade width is 1 inch at the widest. That's 26 millimeters. Your blade stock thickness, 112 thousandths of an inch, or 2.8 millimeters. Let's see, handle length, 3 3/4 of an inch, or 9.5 centimeters. Your handle width it's a 3-dimensional handle, guys, so bear with me. Handle width is 7/10 of an inch at the narrowest and 1 inch at the widest, and that is 18 millimeters and 26 millimeters also. Your handle thickness is not quite a 1/2 inch here, and it's not quite 3/4 of an inch at the butt end, and that is 12 millimeters and 18 millimeters respective. Behind the edge thickness on this 112 thousandth stock thickness, 1 inch wide, fully flat ground blade is a very, very slicey 14 thousandths of an inch, guys, and that is 0.36 millimeters, about 1/3 of a millimeter, guys, and this thing is very slicey. The weight is let's see, it was 3.9 ounces for just the knife, or 5.4 ounces with the sheath. That's 111 grams and 159 grams. So there you go on your specs, guys. You guys are all familiar with HCR13 MOV. It is the wonder steel from the future that we just haven't learned how to respect yet. It's decent, guys. I think in this thin of a blade, this knife is not meant for any type of heavy-duty use. It is not a woodcraft, fieldcraft knife. As far as outdoors use, I'm looking at a camp knife, a personal knife, companion type of knife, food prep, field dressing, light duty, like feather sticking, things like that. I think it's perfect for that. And I'm going to tell you right now what I bought this for. I bought this as a dedicated personal steak knife. A steak knife, guys. Look at the fit in my medium large hands with a 4-inch blade. This is a mighty, mighty fine full-size steak knife, guys. And that's what I bought it for, period. I didn't buy this to do, I don't even want to cut open an envelope with it. All I want to do is cut open a medium rare ribeye. That's all I want to do with this, guys. But it is equally suited if you're not going to be cutting just ribeyes with it. It is equally suited for food prep. You do see that the edge is down below the handle here, guys, forming a natural guard, and it does get the edge down close to your cutting surface and not too blocked off by your fingers here. It would be a great companion knife for camping, guys. It would be a great knife for that. Carry over to your food prep at fireside and for an eating utensil like I want it for, like a steak knife, guys. Perfect little compact, easy to carry, utilitarian, personal knife is what it is. All right, let's talk about fit and finish a little bit on it. This is a machine ground satin finish. It's pretty good, guys. There is a very faint drag mark on the front side here that you can only catch in reflections. I do not know, guys, because this satin finish is crazy on the camera, the autofocus on the camera. But there's a light drag mark here. You can't even feel it, guys. And then there is a couple of coarse grind scratch marks on the back that they did not get out in their first stages of grit progression as they ground it, and it's been polished in. And again, you can only catch those in reflection, and honestly, only if you know really what you're looking for. And guys, I look at these knives so closely when I do reviews that the majority of knife buyers are never going to see these things. But this one video, this one review, one representation is what I've got to offer, so I've got to look for those things. Other than that, it's satin, guys. I'm having to hold it at an angle because if I come right here and I start getting up in the light, it causes the autofocus on the camera to go crazy. But it's pretty well done, guys. I mean, you can see here, you can see there, it's pretty well done. At $35, I'm not going to argue with that. This thing is flat ground, guys. The plunge is all the way back at the handle scales. It's not sharp in the last 1/16 of an inch here on the blade, and I think that's a safety thing, as you'll find yourself using the secondary handle position, which is choked up for more detail work. You'll find yourself using that, and you might roll over on that blade. So I don't know if you're going to use it that way. Just please stay conscious of that if you sharpen that last little bit. But as far as sharpening it, your plunge is way back here, guys. You can pull that secondary grind all the way back here, fully sharpen it with no problems at all. It won't take very much time, guys. The Spyderco hole, no burr on that. It's not sharp, and it's pretty much the right size to fit in on the profile of the blade there. All your markings, cleanly and crisply done. No issues there. So fit and finish on the blade. I'm good to go on it, guys. Good to go on it. Let's see. Fit and finish on the handle here. And the only issue I have in this knife, as far as fit and finish goes, they've shaped the G10, guys. They've done a good job on it. The fitment to the blade tang, they've done a good job there. There's no gaps or anything. The pin work is pretty good, guys. The lanyard hole here is pretty good. And I'll mention right now that lanyard hole, the inside diameter, 280 thousandths of an inch or 7 millimeters. So plenty of room to get lanyard through there, guys. But the fit and finish itself is good. My only issue is in a choice of finishing on these scales, and they've come back after shaping and buffed this G10 for a glossy type of look. I just don't like that look on G10, guys. It can be a little slick under certain circumstances to me, and I just don't like that look. I would have preferred a satin look on it, and I will probably come back and do a real high grit progression followed by some steel wool on mine to satin it out. That's just a personal preference. But as far as actual fit and finish, there's no issues there, guys. Again, it's a $35 knife. A $35 knife, guys, a Phil Wilson design, and it's fabulous. It is a fabulous design. I love trailing points. Everybody knows I love trailing points. And this is just pokey and slicey and just the perfect size, guys. Mr. Wilson, this is such a basic but well-balanced design. It's very compact in the handle for the blade length you get. Remember, you're 4 inches of cutting length, 4.5 inches all the way back to the handle scales, but then you're only 3 3/4 of an inch on the handle length, and 9.5 to 10 centimeters on that. It's very compact, but it still gives you 2 grip zones. If you want to use the full thickness of that grip, and remember it is a tapering grip, both in width and in thickness, guys. So as compact as it is, it actually feels like a handle. It doesn't just feel like just almost a handle. It's an actual handle, guys. And it feels good in what I'm going to consider the primary full strength grip back on those handle scales. But then you've got another 1/2 inch, guys, to come choking up into that choil up onto that blade, and you can do some much more detailed cutting here in the flat of the blade profile. Now, as far as pinch cuttings, it's a little blunt on the tip here, guys. If it was scalloped out just a little more, I would think it would be a little bit better. But you can get your thumb right up on the flat of the blade here and still not have your finger out beyond this forward sort of guard area, guys. And you can do some flat grip cutting here. Very, very basic but versatile handle design, guys. Just a super high performance, thin, slicey, trailing point design here on the blade, guys. There's no ribeye going to stand a chance against this knife. That's just all there is to it. And I think it's going to just be suited equally well to multiple slicey, lighter duty tasks. Now, the edge retention on the HCR 13 MOV is not going to be the best, but it's going to resharpen way easy, guys, way easy. What I'm going to do is I'm probably going to sharpen my determination here. I'll reprofile the edge to even it out. And then, just strop in between uses, guys. Just keep stropping it. And yet that edge will last a decent amount for you before you have to resharpen if you get into the habit of stropping your knives. And HCR 13 MOV reacts very well to stropping. So, what else can I say about this knife, guys? What else can I say about it? Let's bring that sheath out and look at it. And, it's a basic fold over, single side stitch, pouch type sheath with an integral belt loop here, guys. It is box stitch, the belt loop, so it should be plenty strong. It's not very wide. I'd say 1.5 belts. You may be able to get an 1 3/4 belt in there, but that'd be tight, guys. So I'm gonna say 1.5 belt. The stitching is straight. The riveting is clean, guys. It is decently molded. The fit is tight. There's no chance you're going to shake that out under normal use. There's zero chance of that, guys. You have to be purposeful when pulling it out, when you want to have it out. Now that leather will stretch over time. That's just the what happens with leather sheaths, guys. But it's pretty well done. Again, a $35 knife, guys, from Spyderco. So I think that we're getting a little more than what you would have come to expect out of Spyderco at this low price point. And let me say that this is a price point that is not often explored by Spyderco, and I very much appreciate them bringing this knife to the market at $35. I predict this knife will sell very well for them. So congratulations to both Spyderco and Phil Wilson on what I think is going to be a very popular and successful, inexpensive, light utility outdoors knife. Or steak knife, guys. If I had a steak right here, I would be so, you wouldn't even be able to understand me. I'd have steak in my mouth. So there you go, guys. The Spyderco Phil Wilson design Bow River fixed blade, a budget offering from Spyderco, designed from Phil Wilson. Just very well done, guys. Yes, it is a budget offering in a budget blade steel. There's nothing really fancy about it as far as accoutrement or anything, materials. And it's all in the design. It's all in the design, guys. Excellent handle design for multiple grips, even though it's compact. I like everything about this design, guys. Very well executed at this price point from Spyderco. And I'm going to recommend it. I'm going to recommend it, guys. I think that if you don't misuse this knife, it will serve you very well for a long time at a decent price. So there you go. Now, as always, I thank you for taking the time to watch one of my videos. God bless all of you, and we will talk to you again.